Have you ever said something you wish you could take back? The moment passes quickly, but the words don't disappear. They bounce back to you again and again, growing louder each time. Your own voice becomes your harshest judge. This inner torment affects us all. But what if the very mistake that haunts you could teach you something profound? What if the path to peace doesn't lie in silencing that voice at all? Listen carefully. Hidden within this old tale lies a secret about breaking free from the prison we build inside our own minds. In a quiet village between two mountains, there lived a woman named Mara. She was ordinary in every way, tending her small garden and sharing meals with neighbors. One evening, Mara sat with her elderly neighbor Belen, under an old tree. They were sharing bread and fruit. Belen spoke softly about missing her daughter, who had moved away years before. Her voice carried the weight of long solitude. Mara, tired and distracted by her own troubles, spoke without thinking. Perhaps she would visit more if you weren't always complaining about her absence. The words fell between them like a stone into still water. Belen's face changed. She gathered her shawl and left quietly. The bread barely touched. At first Mara felt defensive, but as darkness fell, her own words started repeating in her mind. That night, sleep would not come. The words played over and over, each time sounding crueler than before. The next morning, Mara went to apologize. Belen didn't answer her door. She tried again the following day, and the day after that, each time only silence. Days turned into weeks. The words seemed to grow larger inside her chest. Mara began waking in the middle of the night, her heart pounding, those same words echoing through her thoughts. She would sit up in darkness, pressing her hands against her ears, but the voice came from within. You are cruel. You are thoughtless. You don't deserve forgiveness. Mara stopped going places where she might see Belen. She avoided other neighbors, fearing she might hurt them too. Her garden withered from neglect. She moved through her days like a shadow. One afternoon, a traveling merchant stopped near her gate. He was an old man with kind eyes. I have something you need, he said. I need nothing, Mara replied. Everyone needs silence from the voices that won't stop. March. You froze. The merchant held up a small clay jar sealed with wax. A jar for echoes, he explained. You speak your regrets into it once, seal it again, and the echoes stay trapped inside. Your mind becomes quiet. Mara's hands trembled. She would have given anything for peace. How much does it cost? She asked. Only one thing. You must promise never to open it again. Once your words are inside, they must stay there forever. Mara took the jar home, broke the seal, and poured everything into its dark opening. The thoughtless words, the shame, the crushing weight. She spoke until her voice grew weak, then sealed the jar with new wax and placed it on a high shelf. That night, for the first time in months, she slept deeply. The next morning she woke feeling lighter. The voice had quieted, but as the day progressed, Mara noticed something strange. She passed Belen's house and felt nothing. She saw their tree and felt emptiness. She tried to remember Belen's laughter, but the memory had grown cold. Days passed. Mara realized that in sealing away her regret, she had also sealed away something else: her capacity to feel deeply, her ability to care. The jar had taken not just who didn't try, but the tenderness that made her human. She reached for the jar. Her hands trembled as she held it. The merchant had warned her never to open it, but she could no longer bear this hollow existence. She broke the seal. The words came rushing out like a storm. Mara sank to the floor, expecting to be overwhelmed. But something unexpected happened. Instead of fighting the echoes, she stopped running. She listened, really listened. Beneath the cruel self-judgment, she heard something new. She heard fear. She heard the voice of someone terrified of being unworthy of love. She heard the cry of someone who didn't know how to forgive herself. Mara sat very still. For the first time, she spoke back. You are right. I hurt someone I love. Those words were unkind. But that moment doesn't define everything I am. The echoes continued. But Mara kept speaking. I cannot undo what I said, but I can learn from it. This mistake doesn't have to be the end of my story. Slowly, the echoes began to change. They grew quieter, not because Mara had silenced them, but because she had finally acknowledged them. She had stopped treating her inner critic as an enemy and started seeing it as a part of herself that was hurting and afraid. The next morning, Mara went to Belen's house. This time the door opened. Belen stood in the doorway, uncertain. Mara didn't rush to explain. She simply spoke from her heart. I said something cruel. I hurt you, and I'm deeply sorry. I've been carrying these words inside me, punishing myself. But I realize now that my suffering changes nothing for you. What matters is that I acknowledge my mistake and promise to do better. Belen was quiet for a long moment. Then she stepped aside. I was hurt, Belen said, but I also missed my friend. They sat together. For the first time in months, Mara felt truly present. The inner voice still spoke occasionally, but it no longer controlled her. She had learned to listen without being consumed. Mara kept the broken jar on her shelf as a reminder not of her mistake, but that silencing our inner critic isn't the answer. The answer lies in listening with compassion, acknowledging our errors without letting them define us, and understanding that growth comes from learning to forgive ourselves for being human. We all say things we regret. We all carry the echo. Examples of our imprudent words. But the real trap isn't the mistake itself. It's the endless loop of self-punishment that follows. Your inner critic will speak. It will remind you of every thoughtless comment, every harsh word, every moment you wish you could take back. But here's what Mara learned. You don't have to silence that voice completely. You just need to change your relationship with it. Listen to what it's really saying. Often beneath the criticism lies fear. Beneath the judgment lies hurt. Beneath the relentlessness lies a desperate desire to be good enough. When you speak thoughtlessly, acknowledge it. Apologize when you can. Learn what the moment teaches you. But don't let that single moment expand to fill your entire life. Don't let the echo become louder than the person you're trying to become. The path to inner peace isn't about erasing your mistakes. It's about accepting that you made them, understanding why, and gently, compassionately moving forward. If this story touched your heart, share it with someone trapped in their own echo chamber, someone who needs to hear that self-forgiveness is possible. Leave a comment about a time you learned to quiet your inner critic. Your words might be exactly what someone else needs today. Remember, you are not your worst moment. You are not the thoughtless words you wish you could take back. You are the person who learns, who grows, who tries again. Break free from your echo chamber. Listen with compassion. Forgive yourself.